Hello, and welcome to the Guess Education Global Leadership Summit. Thank you for joining us. We're pleased to introduce you to Herman, Innovation Director from Virtual Educa and Chair of this panel about the future of Citizenship Alliance, Virtual Educa Global Initiative. We hope you enjoy the session. Over to you, Herman, to introduce the rest of the panel.
Well, thank you very much, and a special regard to everybody following us in so many geographies. Virtual Educa has been an organization dealing with big educational issues during more than 25 years, bringing together leaders from government, corporations, foundations, academia, and many other organizations from the civil society in order to get together the signals and launch initiatives to develop the future of education. In particular, we have now this opportunity to share with all of you the ideas regarding the future of citizenship. This is an important issue to deal with in terms of education. And with me today, I have Dr. Jesus Santiago from Puerto Rico. He's a vice president of the university and several other educational organizations. Recently, he has been involved in global citizenship development along with the Harvard University and working from Puerto Rico and United States in many other related organizations in Latin America and the Caribbean. We have also Alejandro Llobet. Alejandro is a long-term collaborator for Virtual Educa, and he's now the Chief Operator Officer of the most important school of business education in Mexico and Latin America, IPADE. Alejandro will also take care of issues dealing with the importance of a scenario for the future, for 10 years from now. And within that, the idea of how citizenship will evolve and his vision by dealing with leaders of Mexico and Latin America with all these issues. Let me share with you a presentation in order to give you a glimpse about what is our idea with this initiative. We have been creating the future of citizenship as redefining the educational goals of the future. So we have been announcing the future of Citizenship Alliance. This is an idea that we are going to comment with you together in this presentation today. As I mentioned, for many years we have been dealing with the scenarios for the future in the 2030 scenario, and understanding how is it that most of the more critical issues in humanity are not being fully addressed by educational systems. We started some years ago with the concern about the blue education, the problem with the oceans, the water, and the space. All this blue thinking is not being addressed at the schools, and we are facing now very serious problems in that particular area. It was logical that immediately we had attention on the sustainability issue. All this climate change related aspects in humanity are now becoming the biggest crisis ever, and we still wonder how educational systems are going to deal with that in order to create a more conscious persons dealing with these issues. Another issue that we found as an important and not being fully addressed is democracy. Is the weaknesses of democracies all over the world are now showing up, and we are facing clear signals that request action to strengthen democracy for the future. Some other issues like the gender equality are also to be addressed more formally and more actively within the educational systems. The inspiration for this initiative that we would like to share with all leaders, principals, and educators is that, within the context of the crisis of the sanitary crisis worldwide and the economic crisis aside, we are facing the ideas of constructing a new world. Maybe one of our lessons learned in these days is that it is beyond borders. We have to think beyond borders in order to face all these global in nature problems. And of course, to redefine our path and change these ideas. We were asking the other day if we can call a citizen an individual who doesn't know or doesn't care about global change. Or could we call a citizen an individual that knowingly shares information which is fake or not true? With these questions, we began to create reflections about how citizenship should be in the years to come. So all these ideas of surveillance society, for example, or disinformation, all these areas need to be addressed now by educational systems. So it has to become a concern for the directors at the schools, the educators, and in general, the educational leaders. So the Alliance has designed several important axes in order to convey the attention from global leaders and school directors, companies, and foundations and civil society organizations in dealing with the design of our global citizenship new definition for the future, and to align the educational service to provide this new view of global citizenship in the future. We have to start the building of this notion right now. So that makes this issue to become somehow urgent. To strengthen the democracy, as I mentioned, the assault on democracies in many geographies around the world calls for urgent action, even a better understanding of democracy and the future of democracy and how to strengthen the behavior of democracy in every nation and around the world. To prioritize climate change and sustainability as one of the most important challenges that humanity has ever faced, that mankind has ever faced. To promote the gender equality, particularly providing opportunities for development in science, technology, education, and arts for the future of women and girls. And of course, to ensure responsible digital technology use. This is becoming more than important issue all these days because the improper use of digital technology is affecting all other axes of action for the Alliance. Very quickly, allow me to share that we have then created this alliance as a multilateral initiative, bringing together governments all over starting with Latin America, Spain and Portugal, and now promoting with Middle East, Africa, and later on with Asia. With a high level awareness strategy, creating several forums or fora in different places of the world to develop relevant events in that particular nature. And of course, to create, starting with a global youngsters pact for the future of citizenship. This pact will be supported by strategies like creating a global virtual campus dealing with these particular issues. We are starting with a small virtual campus that it will become kind of an international service to help educators find information and opportunities to get acquainted and develop a sense and notion about citizenship for the future. An observatory about what is happening in this particular area, bringing leaders, kind of a think tank dealing with this particular area. And of course, an educators collaboration network bringing together several countries. In particular, educators will have the opportunity to think together and renew the notions and concepts around citizenship and the future. Particularly with climate change, as I already mentioned, this has to become a maximum priority. It is a challenge of a nature that requires the most important endeavor ever for mankind. They will bring things like redefine social contract for education, along with Dr. Fernando Reimers from the Harvard University Graduate School. We have been dealing with the idea of helping him to promote the multilateral curricula for global citizenship he has been promoting last years. He's a great personality, very well recognized worldwide by OECD and UNESCO and several other important organizations that consider that this has to be one of the most important endeavors for teachers from now on. And of course, to help combat the polarization, fake news, and disinformation that is polluting the digital telecommunication and digital networks. So the idea, dear participants, is that we will have, as part of the Alliance, several events. We had already, at the end of last year, a launching of this initiative as a pre-idea, let's say, in Portugal at the end of last year. This presentation with HES is one of the itineraries that will help us make aware several regions of the world about the possibilities of this particular alliance. We will have in Panama a pre-launching event with the with a meeting of representatives of the congresses and parliaments all over Latin America. And by the end of this year, we will have, with the help of the World Bank, a Justers Forum that will deliver a pact with their vision about the future of citizenship as they can only see. Then we will have a directive board of the alliance that is being created in Washington by the end of this year. And next year we will have the first global forum, very big in nature, and followed by another one in Spain by 2023. Let me just mention that several important organizations have already accepted the initiative and gladly announced possibilities to cooperate to make this effort a collaboration, an international collaboration endeavor for all together. HES is also helping us with this idea, several corporations and international organizations like United Nations, the European Commission, World Bank, OECD, UNESCO, and governments from Spain, Estonia, Mexico, Panama, and several others. And in dealing with connectivity, let me just share with you this idea we are having that connectivity will change so dramatically in the next 2 to 3 years. With projects like this is one of several recognized initiatives, putting together a web of satellites around the Earth that will behave with an intelligent, autonomous learning capabilities that will address connectivity problems, particularly for the most deprived regions in the world, where connectivity is very difficult to achieve. So changing connectivity will create enormous possibilities, but also new challenges and threats in terms of disinformation and all these particular issues. The important point here is we will have experimental learning, for example, learning-based experiences using new technologies like augmented reality and all these things, and that can help us a lot in changing the nature of how we learn in the years to come. And of course, connected talent, international nets of talent. Now we are seeing connections between cities, and this idea of citizenship is very beyond the limits, as I mentioned, because it's going to be mostly based on imagination, which is the future we see to be constructed, to be built all together, because beyond information, it is our imagination, the path of change we have to deal with. I guess this is the whole idea I wanted to share with all of you. Thank you very much for the attention. And I would like to invite Dr. Jesus Santiago from Puerto Rico to be the next speaker. So thank you very much, Jesus, and go ahead, please.
Thanks a lot, Herman. I'm going to share the presentation with you. All right, it is a pleasure to me to be part of this event. Thanks to Virtual Educa for this opportunity. And as Herman explained before, one of the purposes of the Alliance is to develop efforts to promote a global citizenship education. This is what I want to use this opportunity in the Education Global Leadership Summit to talk about the Developing Global Citizenship Education, 5 quick recommendations for educational leaders. First of all, let's talk about what is global citizenship education. When we talk about global citizenship education, we refer to a sense of a belonging to a common humanity and respect for diversity and solidarity. It promotes interdependence and interconnectedness between the local, the national, and the global based on universal values and respect for diversity. On the other hand, it aims to equip learners with knowledge, values, and skills to contribute to a more just, inclusive, and peaceful world through a multifaceted approach. On the other hand, we have to reflect why is global citizenship education important. According with the UNESCO, the global citizenship education aims to empower learners of all ages to assume active roles, both locally and globally, in building more peaceful, tolerant, inclusive, and secure societies. It's aimed to instill in learners the values, attitudes, and behaviors that support responsible global citizenship, creativity, innovation, and commitment to peace, human rights, and sustainable development. Now, I want to share with you five quick recommendations for the educational leaders to develop this global education. The first one, build your professional practice by implementing a leadership approach. As you manage the present, lead into the future. First of all, develop with your team a vision that defines the desired future of your school, which includes as a priority elements related with a global citizenship. On the other hand, develop a defined strategic plan that facilitates the achievement of this global vision. Third of all, generate and implement tools that promote transformation in your respective educational centers, promoting two important elements: change and innovation. And on the other hand, outline with your team tools that guarantee the sustainability of the global citizenship project in your school. As a second recommendation, promote the development and implementation of a curriculum with a global citizenship perspective based on the core conceptual dimensions of the global citizenship education. The first one is the cognitive dimension, and according with the UNESCO, this dimension involves to acquire knowledge, understanding, and critical thinking about global, regional, national, and local issues and the interconnectedness and interdependency of different countries and populations. The second core is the social emotional dimension, and it involves to have a sense of belonging to a common humanity, shared values and responsibilities, empathy, solidarity, and respect for differences and diversity. The behavioral dimension involves to act effectively and responsibly at local, national, and global levels for a more peaceful and sustainable world. As a third recommendation, encourage the development of global competencies in your school. According with Dr. Reimers, global competencies encompass knowledge, skills, and dispositions that help students develop, understand, and function in communities that are increasingly interdependent with other communities around the world. That provides a strong foundation for the meaningful learning that is needed to participate effectively in environments continuously transformed by change on a global level. Four recommendation, third recommendation, sorry. Develop students' activities that contribute to the dissemination and understanding for the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals represent a common denominator in this important effort around the world. The United Nations developed this guide to help schools to develop activities related with the understanding of the Sustainable Development Goals and to define different activities to develop it. So I strongly recommend this material. It is free. You can find it in the internet, and is an important reference. As a final recommendation, develop a global awareness as an educator from creative experience and the participation of collaborative alliances. Herman talked about imagination. The history of humanity has shown that great reforms, transformations, and innovations are products of chaotic experiences. Without subtracting from the current reality how difficult it has been for all those involved to try to fulfill their responsibilities relating to teaching and learning, it is a good time to reflect on the need to raise new questions, new ideas, possible solutions, and ways of expressions. Circumstances are different, but creating with a global perspective continues to stimulate learning even in difficult times. The complex and uncertain historical situation that is being faced could well become a breeding ground for the development and stimulation of minds, hands, and hearts willing to transform current and future reality of the world. The fine arts, the natural and social sciences, the technological innovation, all of the multiple manifestations of the human relationship, and the knowledge of all orders have been summoned to generate responses to this present. Let the creative act with a global perspective as the epicenter of the learning experience be the engine to generate them. Thank you very much.
Your microphone is turned off, Herman.
Happening. This is always happening. Thank you very much, Jesus, for this comprehensive presentation that becomes a guideline for educators all over, in dealing with these particular issues. So thank you for all this experience, concentrated in those capsules you share with us. Thank you very much. And without any hesitation, let's allow Alejandro to share his views on this important issue we are talking about with educators in educators and leaders in all these large geographies that are being covered by this event. Alejandro, thank you very much for helping us with this endeavor and by sharing your views.
Thank you, Herman.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Herman, and I thank Virtual Educa for the opportunity of being here, and also I thank guests for this space. And I don't have a presentation; it's more like a personal reflection. Let me tell you, I'm really impressed about this topic, and I'm passionate about this topic because it is very urgent to address it. Today, more than ever, it is necessary to develop citizenship habits in young people that lead them to the self-creation of good citizens. As Herman said before, there is so much fake news that we cannot imagine how they are also exploited through social networks and also personal messaging. And people believe what they see, not what it is, what it actually is. And with young people, this problem is becoming even more strong and potent because they don't have the maturity to distinguish what is real and what is not. They are very confused. What they see is what they believe, and that's it. And in a virtual world, it becomes even more complex, right? So democratic, social, community citizenship, real values that are based on the truth and not on utilitarian platforms are less and less present in people's lives, especially in students of educational institutions, in young students. In schools and universities, are promoting competition, individual success, and they are shaping young people with economic and academic goals to define their future success. However, they have left out the social problems that plague the world. Let's say, for example, few young people are aware of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. If you ask a 15-year-old guy what are the UN Sustainable Development Goals, they don't know what we are talking about. And even fewer who understand the UN's development goals, maybe they don't know why those are the development goals and not others. There is a world of completely unknown problems for them. And my question here is, who will attend or address those problems when this generation will become the most important labor, economic, and political force? Who will address these problems? In a generation that is not sensitive to these problems in a few years. Maybe they will got graduated from university, they will get a nice job. Some of them will succeed and have a very fast career in the political or economic world. But if they are not concerned about these problems, about being a better citizen, then who will help out to solve these problems? Let me tell you something very personal, but it has a lot to do with what we're talking about. I'm a co-founder and a partner of an online school of social and exponential entrepreneurship for young people. And we have a community of with more than 33,000 followers. All of them young people of different ages, maybe between 14 and 22 years old. So with this community of 33,000 people, we have performed surveys and studies to create our entrepreneurship programs. And we have realized that the more they study, the more they lose interest in being good citizens. The more they grow, the more they lose interest in being good citizens. And there is a range of age that is especially important to attend, to care about, between 15 and 22 years old. It is precisely in this range, in this age range, that interest in being a good citizen is lost. This is why our entrepreneurship school is focusing on these ages, because we have them we want to promote and to develop in a formative way social projects in young people that also lead them to discover their professional vocation while also starting a new business, living the entrepreneurship experience. But the most important thing here is to get committed to a global citizenship program. And it is impressive when a young man or woman of that age identifies with a social cause to be solved and commits to it. The results are fabulous. They are impressive in the development of him or her as a person, in the process of maturity, in the ethical values that are developed in the results, but above all in the personal commitment that he or she acquires with the world and with his own life. So in that range of age, we have a great opportunity of getting strong influence so she or he can be convinced about being a better citizen. So my conclusion is that programs and alliances with like my entrepreneurship school or the alliance that Virtual Educa is forging, they are projects that cry out to the whole world and are urgently needed before it is too late and the world is in hands of anti-citizens. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Alejandro. It has been a very strong final impression that we would like to share with everybody attending these sessions under this nice invitation from HES. And the whole idea is to invite all forces of society to join in a common collaboration effort, multinational in nature, to help redefine and intentionally building a new definition of citizenship that would help us resolve all these big issues. We were thinking that, we were able to get to the moon, and now we are planning to get to Mars. We created and invented internet, like never before, and a space for freedom of speech in the whole history of mankind, and many other achievements. All these efforts combined are less than the one required to face the big issues ahead, like the climate change and the use of these new technologies, that create so much augmentation in our forces and endeavors, but that bring together the most structural threats for the future. So following Alejandro's reasoning, the idea is that at certain ages, when people are intensively using all these connectivity issues, devices and programs, is the opportunity to help them redefine how better deal with things like the Sustainable Development Goals or many other of the important agreements around the world. Educators play a very, very key role, a fundamental role in this change for the future. So the reflectors of the society are now shedding light on the teachers in the middle of the scenario, in the middle of the stage, waiting for them to help us resolve these big issues. The Alliance is one of the instruments we have been creating to help in this development. So, Sara, Jesus, go ahead, please.
Just a little comment, reflecting in your comments and Alejandro's participation. I remember a Spanish author, his name is Santos Guerra, and Santos Guerra said that the school have to teach citizenship, and the citizens think, decide, and participate. The citizens are not professionals of the obedience, but of the commitment, right? And taking it in consideration, this is the real challenge. We have to see the school scenario as one of the most important platforms to make this real change happen, right? And this is the real challenge that we have.
Well, for all the audience and the people that will review these recordings in the future, our greeting and our invitation to join the Alliance, because this is an important issue to deal with, and our last opportunity to create a better future by creating good citizenships. So thank you very much for the invitation, Sarah. And of course, we will have the opportunity in the future to help redefine important things like education and the future of mankind. Just remembering, as you did, Jesus, in a very dramatic conversation, the other day we were exploring that education became providing information in chunks for people to repeat. Has become the standard for many countries, particularly in our region. And that now we have the responsibility to ensure that we create, first of all, good citizens. And we will have tools like connectivity, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and many other of these tools to help people manage the information. So let's ensure we will have the best possible citizens in the future. That's our endeavor, Sarah, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. That was so informative. What an important initiative. If people wanted to find out more information about what you were talking about, is there a website or further information they can find out?
Yeah, it will be very easy to find Virtual Educa. It will be in front because it is our best initiative.
Great, okay.
Virtual Educa website is very easy to find.
It is virtualeduca.org.
Brilliant. Okay.
Virtualeduca.org.
And also, I hopefully you will join us on our virtual platform when we launch in March. So if people want to connect with you, they can find you on there. To our audience, we'd love to hear more from you. So feel free to share your thoughts or comments by sending us an email to marketing@guesseducation.com. We'll be on social media as well during the summit. So if you want to chat to us there, follow us on Twitter @guesseducation and use the hashtags #guesseducation and #guessglobal. We hope that you enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you and bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Jesus, Alejandro, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.